Well, I have a microphone, and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say!
Welcome to the You, Me, and the Scene podcast, brought to you by Revival Recordings.
Hello. You are here on the first episode of the You, Me, and the Scene podcast, brought to you by Revival Recordings. We have Haley, Thrillhouse, E, and myself, Courtney, and we're really excited to jump into the podcast with you guys. It's been a while in the making, and hopefully you enjoy what we have to say and don't hate our opinions too much, but we're here and we're ready to share.
Yeah, for this first episode, we're just going to introduce ourselves, give you a little bit of our background and how we all got to where we are right now and why you're listening to us talk. We all work together at Revival Recordings, and we all have very different, well, maybe not entirely different, but pretty different stories of getting involved. So, Courtney, how did you get involved with Revival Recordings?
Yeah, so I've worked with the company for 2 years now. I got it through a good old-fashioned ad on the internet. I went to college and got a psych degree and then was really so into music and should have went to college for music to begin with. So after I graduated, I went to Berklee College of Music into music business, learned the ropes, and then here I am with you guys today. Living the dream over here.
Are we living the dream? Is this the dream?
I am. I am. Yeah.
You are.
But
I can't believe it's been 2 years. It's hard to believe it's been 2 years.
I know. It was 2 years in September, so now you guys are stuck with me.
And then me and Amanda, we've been here the longest out of the four of us, right?
Yeah, we started like the same week or something like that. It's been at least 7 years, seven or eight or nine. I don't know.
It's too long.
That long?
It's been long. It's been long.
2015.
Wow.
2015,
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
they don't pay me to do math, so it's
the Revival OGs over here.
I was going to say, if you think about it, we've been here almost the same.
Yeah. Oh man, I just feel really old. I could have sworn that we had the same interview phone call, but I don't think you remember that, and it makes me think that I just made that up. But
I remember when I got like the intern, like because I started at Revival as an intern. I remember like getting on the phone and we had that like huge like round table, and I think it was Nick probably that was like, tell us about yourself, and the quote unquote awkward
icebreakers,
first time meetings, icebreakers. And the only thing I can remember about it is that everyone left the call talking about my accent, and I'm like, I don't have an accent, guys.
yeah.
Okay, I haven't worked here that long, but I have never once heard you have an accent. Like, not even a southern accent.
Oh,
See?
you
certain words come out of Haley. Yeah.
No. I started saying Mike could because of Haley.
Mike could. Nick and Sean make fun of me so hard for saying Mike could. I'm like, it's a thing.
What does
That makes sense.
mean?
So
Like,
Haley's accent comes out when she's angry, and my Massachusetts accent comes out when I'm drunk. So good.
Yeah.
Well, you did say wicked earlier today, so
Yeah,
that is
you
true.
did.
Look, listen, wicked is a way of life. You don't understand that, but
I know. It's always like, it's just everyday convo, and then unless you're with someone that doesn't use that word, like today, Thrillhouse calls it out, and I'm like, oh.
I've said wicked cool a few times, and like people have been like, why are you saying wicked? And I'm like, you just wouldn't get it. You just don't. You didn't grow up where I grew up.
I feel like if I was like in public and said like wicked, they'd be like, the music.
Well,
And I'm like,
so
no.
Doubt it, yeah.
Haley's the only one that's actually from North Carolina, right? Out of like
Correct.
the whole team.
Yes,
Yeah.
North
Oh, yeah,
Carolina,
that's
born
true.
and raised.
That's
Yes,
true. I
that is
didn't think
true.
of that.
Yeah.
Amanda, where are you
and-
from?
New York originally.
Okay, so we're tri-state, New England, same thing.
Pretty close.
Is it?
Just a
No,
It's Boston's what 3. I dated someone in Boston for like a summer.
3
and I
hours from
went
New York
to see
City.
him a couple times. Yeah, it was something
Yeah,
like 3 hours,
it's
3.5 hours.
3-hour drive.
it's too long of a drive.
I do.
Except
Not
you
that
passed
long.
that. We've got to get back on track after this. But
Yeah.
when you're driving from Boston back to New York, you pass that creepy abandoned Jesus amusement park with a giant cross on the highway.
What?
It's called.
Wait, we're gonna have to go back to this.
Okay, wait, no, I have done 95 a few times in my
Wait,
life.
It's
But
I always go like
yeah, it's in
Connecticut.
it's in Connecticut.
in Connecticut. Is it on that like
You
2
were
Well,
lane
it's
highway?
right or 24?
Oh, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
she
First of
would know,
all, I have
like,
no sense
yeah.
of direction. But also, going to the part of New York that I'm from, since I wasn't going into New York City exactly, I was on like
Yeah.
the Danbury border of like the Connecticut border of New York. So
Oh, so you're a little further up. Okay, yeah, it was probably the 2-lane highway. Sorry, okay.
but yes, Haley and I started
Upstate New York.
the same week in the same round of interns joining the team 8 years ago now. Haley, how did that come to be, and what did you do before that? Because I know you have a little bit of a background in a different
Yeah.
vein of music.
Yes. So I went to college at UNC Chapel Hill, and I double majored in dramatic arts and communication studies, which communication studies is a broad thing. Dramatic arts are just kind of in there. But in my junior year of college, I had an internship with Stash Media, which was kind of underneath the Sony umbrella of things. And that kind of got my spark going for the music industry and wanting to be in the music industry. So once I graduated, I kind of was trying to look around North Carolina to see if there was anything there. And my boyfriend, now husband, Andrew, he mentions that Alisana had a record label in Raleigh. And so I kind of just went through the website's contact page for internships. And that's kind of how I got into Revival as an intern, and then kind of worked up from there.
We love climbing the ladder. Working your way to the top. And now Haley's in charge of everything.
Yeah.
And everyone.
Oh, speaking of, we
Maybe.
should probably say what we each do. We didn't cover that as we
Oh.
were going over. Courtney,
That's
what's
true.
your official job title?
So I'm the social media manager. Anything posted or anything that you guys message us, responded to on socials, that is me.
So be nice to her.
Don't be mean. Don't be rude.
Yeah, please.
Haley, what's your official title?
I am the executive team manager and roster manager. I handle a lot of things on the back end. Oh no, I handle a lot of things on the back end along with the bands, and then obviously like submitting for distros and things like that. I could sit here and name the things I do for a whole podcast, but I'm not going to do that. No one wants to hear it, so you know.
She listens
a
to us
long
all
list.
complain too, and make sure none of us say anything
Yes.
stupid.
The label therapist,
Yeah.
therapist here at your service. What about you, Amanda?
Well, I started at Revival with a tweet. So like a real millennial. Started working at recording studios in high school. I intended to go to school for recording engineering or audio engineering and my advisor told me to just study something else in order to not be at school for an extra year. So I said no, and then I dropped out of spite and got another recording studio job and worked there for 5 years. While I was doing that, I tweeted that I wanted to work at Revival because I was a really big Alisana fan. And Katie, our old social media manager, responded and said that I could intern. And that's how the ball got rolling. And my job title
man.
is many.
Yeah.
things.
You are merch woman and you are artist and creator and
all that stuff. Yeah,
Big
I
words.
tour with Alisana. I do some video stuff, do some graphic stuff, do some website stuff, do a lot of A&R stuff. Have a lot of opinions about a lot of things. So that's why we're here.
You know.
You know who else started with Twitter? E started with Twitter.
I did. I got my so I've always loved music. I grew up with it and I was going to Warped Tours and I always said I want to work in the music industry, but college did not let that happen. So I went for something completely different out in Ohio, and then I started tweeting during quarantine and that kind of took off. And then I said at some point last year, I really want to work in the music industry. And if anyone could give me any tips, let me know. And suddenly there was Courtney in my DMs like, can you check your hidden requests? Because I sent you a tweet or I sent you a message on Revival's one and I need you to reply. And I was like,
I was just trying to be persistent,
so,
okay?
Here we are a few months later, and I am on the team. My official, I don't know if I have an official title. I think I am web content,
Online.
technically.
Online content.
Yeah, so this is a lesson to everyone that if you want a job, just go tweet about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Or you can, answer a job listing. Sometimes that works out.
It does work out sometimes.
Sometimes you can go intern. There you go. Many different avenues to get where you want to go, guys. Now we're all sitting here, working together, happy as can be. Sometimes.
Talking to you.
Yeah. Starting a podcast. So, yeah. Given that we're a scene podcast, we thought it would be good to go in and talk about what got us into the scene, what kind of bands, and what kind of emo we used to be when we were younger. Yeah.
If we were.
Because, yeah.
Well,
I know. Well, Haley.
My story.
Yeah. Because me and E have had this convo about how we were very different type of emos, little emo girls. She was very much a My Chem black eyeliner, and then I was Fall Out Boy, more pop punk girl. So
I would say I was a solid MySpace emo. I was very like, I'm not emo, I'm scene. But like the reality was that I was like crying in my basement, My Chemical Romance for like 5 hours a day. So you do the math on that one.
Oh man. MySpace.
I didn't realize that Haley was like a card-carrying theater kid. Like, I didn't realize that was what you studied was theater arts.
Oh yeah. Well, because
card carrying.
and I actually in high school card carrying. It threw me off a minute. I was like, card carrying.
Like literally, like you got a degree.
Theater.
Yeah, but then in my mind, I went back to high school because I was in the thespian. I was a thespian, and I actually did have a card. I know. Sorry.
Oh my god.
A card and a clipboard. There had to have been a clipboard in there somewhere too.
Yes, studied. Very on the nose.
So you didn't have the alt emo phase definitively?
No, I don't
Theater
think
kid
so.
emo though. Like its own little like do you know what I mean? Like there's like definitely a little spot.
I mean,
Right.
I'm sure there is.
Hot take: theater kids are emo kids. There you go. That's a hot.
Oh, that's a very hot take.
I mean,
Well, no, because you have the theater kids that like really liked Phantom of the Opera, and you were like, "Don't lie to yourself." Do you know what I mean? Like, if you liked Phantom of the Opera growing up, like, let's see where you are now.
See, I was briefly a theater kid in middle school. I was in like community theater, and then when I got to high school, I did like tech stuff for the high school theater and like the mics and nerdy stuff like that. And I've just been very one-track minded my entire career. So
yeah, I actually went into being a dramatic arts major in the thoughts that I wanted to be in front of the camera. And then throughout my time in dramatic arts, I went behind scenes, and that's where I liked being more. And then obviously, like we said before, I got into the music industry through that internship. So it is definitely a journey in itself.
So, but back to the
yes.
Answer the question, Haley. Were you emo in high school?
I would say no. If you go back and look at like my pictures, like you think like the cliched emo photos that you see, you know what I mean, you know what I'm talking about. And I don't think I had any
all
of those.
black studded belts.
I wasn't really into like, yeah, no, not me. I was more like literally if you pulled up my iPod at the time, it had anything and everything. Country rock, dad rock as we call it, show tunes, anything like that. But yeah, no, I didn't really get into the scene as we talk about it now until I was in college and in that internship, truthfully.
Yeah, I feel like I was like all over the place too. Like with music, I liked everything, but definitely way into the scene starting like middle school. So before you, but as you guys know, I'm a big pop fan.
So before you know.
I'm a big I like shows. So we listen to everything. Country, I listen to it all. So
yeah, but you're a Swiftie. First and foremost, you are a Swiftie. Like that's
first and foremost, it will be put on my grave. Taylor Swift till I die.
That'll be a podcast topic in the future as well.
I keep saying that me and then Liz from Gold Steps need to have just a podcast episode talking about Taylor Swift because she's a major Swiftie too. That would be great.
Well, I think the first time I met Liz, we were at an Out of Time show, and Liz and the rest of Gold Steps came to like meet us because they had just signed on, and we were going to hang out or whatever. And I think one of the first conversations we had, she asked me something about Taylor Swift, not like a factual question about Taylor Swift. It was something along the lines of like, how do you feel about Taylor Swift, so on and so forth. And I remember being like, I have no thoughts. No.
Deer in a headlight.
I am.
Who?
I am not. I am not a Swiftie. But yeah, she's really into Taylor Swift.
I was like Haley though. I wasn't totally like the picture emo kid, I guess. I was always listening to the music, but not dressed. My black clothes came way later in life. But to quote the great Peyton Sawyer from One Tree Hill, I'm into the music, not the uniform. Okay? There you go.
Oh,
quote
my
it.
gosh.
I can't believe you even quoted
she said
that.
that.
Now.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I watch One Tree Hill on repeat. It's all locked in.
I remember the specific summer in middle school. It was the summer before 8th grade, where over the summer I got contacts, I chopped my hair off and got bright red highlights, and came to school on the first day in an Avenged Sevenfold t-shirt and was like, this is me now.
This is my personality for the rest of my life.
The transformation that school saw, I'm sure. It was like,
my friends didn't recognize me. It was that dramatic.
Right.
You know that TikTok that's going viral right now of the little girl that like just stops everything and she just goes, I would like to announce that I am goth now. Like that's what I imagine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember, and then the next year, my Well, okay. I was gonna say my parents got divorced, but I don't have to leave that in.
Do we want to go into childhood trauma?
That's not what we're talking about.
What really got us here, Amanda? For another day, you know? Haley can step in as the therapist. It's fine.
But the end of that.
I'm charging you for this session.
Part of that though was in my parents disagreeing. My mom let me get trip pants, and that was a really big deal. That I got to wear the pants with the chains, like the big baggy Hot Topic trip
See,
pants.
I had no idea what.
I had no idea they were called. Yeah, I didn't know they were called trip pants.
But once you described them, I was like, okay, I got you. E, are you okay?
Are you okay?
What is happening?
Laugh through it. It's a coping mechanism.
Oh my gosh!
We gotta put in like the Jeopardy music right now. Like we'll be right back. Let you take a break.
It's just like my parents got divorced and then I got trip pants.
It's fine.
Like I'm not laughing at it. It's just a little funny.
The correlation.
It was relevant to it was part of it. It was how I got the trip pants.
Yeah.
Trip pants. We should make a shirt. My parents got divorced and then I got trip pants.
Nick has that shirt machine now.
Nick has the shirt machine!
Dude, we need to do that.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know how to get back into
Where were we?
what we're talking about.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Back then, how did you guys discover music? In your emo phases. How did you discover the music?
MySpace music. Like the MySpace music explore page, like spent hours on that. Hours. Like the first time I ever heard Katy Perry was like from MySpace music, not even on the radio yet. Like that was, you know.
Well, she was huge on MySpace. Yep. She was like one of the MySpace girls.
Yep. Yes. Right. So, I mean, she did do Warped Tour once, didn't she?
I met her at that Warped Tour, and she was very nice.
She told Jake from Alisana that he had very beautiful eyes on that Warped Tour.
Oh, that's so
what?
Nice.
So, Alisana also played that Warped Tour that Katy Perry was on. And apparently, allegedly, I've only heard this story secondhand, Katy Perry was riding by on a golf cart and stopped to tell Jake from Alisana that he had beautiful eyes. And that's the only part of the story. I don't know what happened after that.
Like,
then she drove off into the sunset.
Little golf carts to get around. She was like, I gotta go to catering thing.
Yeah. Haley worked at a Warped Tour one summer.
I did, as well. Technically, as part of that internship that I was doing, I got to go to the Warped Tour for free and put up like flyers around the venues, pass out. What did I pass out? Drawstring bags, and got to go.
Water bottles.
Not water bottles. But,
not water bottles. Warped Tour does not have water. I don't. What?
That's true.
Back in my day. Had water stations.
Get your yak pack and put the water in.
But the reason she said water bottles is because Revival did Warped Tour a couple of times, and we always did water bottles. And Nick would be like, "Water bottle!" like loud as hell.
It's one of those phrases that if anyone ever goes to an event where there's a lot of Revival staff members, there will always be one phrase that gets repeated throughout the night, and that day it was water bottles. There's been a few. Some of them are inappropriate that I don't think I can. But
probably should.
We can choose
not like
explicit for the podcast. There's an option when it's posting if you want to do it explicit.
Oh,
so
well, I'm sure we'll eventually have a take that's too hot that we'll have to censor ourselves.
What was the question?
It was how did we discover music back then?
what it was.
Yeah. I was a Pure Volume girly, which in hindsight, I didn't realize that MySpace and Pure Volume were like the same thing. And I'm pretty sure, like, back in the day, they weren't, maybe, they totally could have been the same thing, but in my head, I was being different because I used Pure Volume. And I would just go related band after related band after related band, and that's how I found, I'm pretty sure that's how I found Ice Nine Kills. When they put out their very first EP, that was like when I would listen to, like, that was before, well, I'm sure there were horror references, I just didn't get them because I was like 13. But yeah,
I don't feel I remember anything about my MySpace days. I feel like I've blocked it out.
No, those are core memories.
Yeah, very core memories of like hiding, even having a MySpace because your parents weren't letting you have one. So.
Oh.
yeah.
They're like, you're gonna end up on Dateline. Yeah.
And now look, we meet everyone online.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't have MySpace because, I mean, everyone wasn't allowed to, but I especially wasn't allowed to for some reason, and I made a Vampire Freaks account instead, which was 500 times worse.
So good, though. Vampire Freaks is still, I just found this out, Vampire Freaks still exists, but they sell stuff now. So,
Vampire Freaks has always been a physical store in New York City. And it was a store first and then had the social media stuff. And then the social media stuff got taken down in 2019, 2020 officially. It was like a big deal, at least in my corner of the internet, because I still talk to a lot of people that I met on that website.
Do I dare ask why?
It wasn't, no one was using it.
Okay.
Which, although there have been several, like, very famous true crime stories that have come out of Vampire Freaks, as I'm sure it has with MySpace too, but people would freak out because it was called Vampire Freaks. And now they're back to just being a clothing store.
I didn't know that. That's a fun little fact.
Oh, it runs deep, this Vampire Freaks lore.
It feels like it's close to like Neopets lore. You know what I mean? Like it's like
except it wasn't bought out by Scientology.
Also that.
I've definitely tried to get into my Neopets account within the past, like, 6 months. But...
So that's part of the Neopets lore is that you can't anymore.
You can't get back into your
old accounts got hacked. Like 90% of them or something. That might be off on percentages, but like a large majority of them are gone. And like you just can't get back into them.
Mine kept saying, "Oh, we can change your password. Just enter your birthday." And I know I lied about my birthday when I made the account, so I don't know what I put for it. So my Neopets are probably starving.
They're dead.
Is Neopet the same as like Tamagotchi?
No.
No.
Although I did have, I have a core memory of taking my pants out of the washing machine as a child and finding my Tamagotchi in the pocket and being like devastated.
Devastated.
Were they in the sweatpants?
Divorced parents and a dead Tamagotchi. It's a bad combo.
That would have been a serve, though.
Really, this is all adding up now. I am fully understanding the picture.
This is how I became emo. It all started when my Tamagotchi went through the washing machine.
It was your first heartbreak.
This is just progressively getting worse.
I'm trying to think if there's anything that we haven't hit that we really want to that we hit in the last one.
We talked about like some of the first bands we saw live.
Yes.
Ironically, All Time Low came up, which it's been an eventful week for them. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that was the
first. When is it not an eventful week for them?
That was the first band I ever was allowed to go see by myself, like without parents. Me and my best friend went to an All Time Low show, so it was good memories, even if they're in controversy now.
My first club show was also an All Time Low show, which I think we figured out was even the same tour because it was All Time Low and Every Avenue, and
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Did we say it was at the Webster or something?
No, so the first Alisana show that I ever went to was at the Webster.
Yes.
Which was Alisana, Medina Lake, and Asking Alexandria.
And I was also there.
Oh my god.
Wild.
Weird.
Wait, at the Webster?
Yes.
No shit.
I used to go to the Webster all the time as a kid and just drive. I mean, not as a kid, but as a teenager and drive down there. Because
in Connecticut? Like, we're talking about the same... Oh my god.
Yes. And Medina, I loved Medina Lake. Like, I was a Medina Lake fan.
Oh man, that's insane. And so,
because
my
mom,
mom,
world after.
literally, my mom drove me and my friend Brian to this Alisana show, and she didn't want to leave us there, so she sat in her car outside the Webster, and she got traumatized because a man walked by without shoes, wearing a wolf mask, and she was like,
"No, that tracks. That tracks."
Hartford, Connecticut, that tracks.
That might traumatize me as well, but that's another story.
No, you know what would traumatize you more?
Medina Lake was great.
Medina Lake was so good, but what would traumatize you more is the bathrooms inside that venue. Don't recommend. That was always very scary.
I don't feel like I ever use the bathroom when I go to concerts. I just hold if I can.
Well, that is its own type of flex. I'm trying to think of the bands that I saw growing up, because I was one of those kids that my mom brought me to see Hilary Duff back in 2000.
Did you go when she was being all emo-y? Because that was my first concert ever. Yes. That was my first. I have the T-shirt from that freaking concert. Yes, at the DCU. Yes, first concert ever was Hilary Duff with what was that?
So clearly we were all meant to be together doing this at some point.
Yes.
Been in the same room.
The universe has come full circle here, guys.
Yes. That was when Hilary Duff was trying to be her little emo-y black pants studded belt self, and I made that album a personality trait. I'm gonna find the T-shirt. I have the T-shirt.
Thing, but she was definitely let the rain fall down, and I was I get it. I get it.
Yes.
See, my very, very, very first concert was when I was in first grade. My mom took me to see NSYNC.
And
I fell.
I think we all have that story,
and I still love him.
Yeah.
About Joey Fatone specifically, yeah, I believe it.
The only time I've seen NSYNC was at Coachella a couple of years ago when they popped up. No JT
at Coachella.
Though, so. Yeah, it was the year that Ariana. Yeah. Just put that in there. I go to Coachella. But that's too funny. Yeah, that was like that Hilary Duff era, and then I think I was thinking about this the other day. Did you guys ever listen to Lyrics, or I was a big Megan Dia girl, so that was all the they were kind of
I only know that
a little of that vibe. Yeah, I was very into all that. I think that was the female start of it, the Veronicas. They're a little more pop.
Your love for
pop.
That's
pop, but they're a little more they're a little more emo on the pop side, especially for female artists. So
I feel so untouched right now, and I was sounds good.
Does anyone else remember that band My American Heart? They had that song The Shake.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And they toured with Sing It Loud, and it was so
Sing It
good.
Loud.
And they also were with Hit the Lights at one point, and they played in Providence at this little place called The Living Room, and it was very good.
I remember. I think it was the Warped Tour 2006 or 2007 compilation, and it had both My American Heart and Megan Dia. That's why my brain made that connection. But that was also that specific compilation that I got before I was allowed to go to Warped Tour had a really big impact on, because that's how I found Chiodos, that's how I found Bayside, that's how I found, I think there was a Poison the Well song on there. That was a pretty deep cut for 12-year-old me. But, yeah.
I never went to a Warped Tour until their last Warped Tour. It is a crime.
I didn't go I think I went 2013, my first one. The one I worked was my first Warped Tour.
I think my first one was 2010.
I went in 2007.
Well, you're dating yourself.
I know.
I wasn't
No,
allowed to go.
stop dating yourself and then calling yourself an elder emo. God.
Look, listen.
What is your
I
age?
specifically wasn't allowed to go to Warped Tour because my mom saw a photo or a video of Rob Zombie wearing assless chaps. And my mom was like,
gosh.
a child can't go to Warped Tour. You could never go to Warped Tour.
What are assless chaps?
Wait, do you want
Trip pants?
but trip pants for EDC?
First of all chaps are assless technically. But regardless, it was a photo of maybe it wasn't Rob. It was either Rob Zombie or Iggy Pop, and I know those aren't the same people, but my brain confuses those names because I'm mentally ill. But my mom saw one of them and was like, "They're dressed inappropriately, and you can't go to Warped Tour." And I wasn't allowed to go until I was
Iggy Pop.
16. Iggy Pop, thank you.
I think you should be more concerned about what the people that are going and attending the show are wearing than the people on the stage.
Yeah, that wasn't great either, but she didn't know that at the time. Wait, I gotta stop talking about my mom on this podcast. I'm gonna get mad.
Speaking of assless chaps, there was like 1 year at Coachella where like assless chaps were like the thing. Like that was like the thing. Like the wire.
Because of James Charles. Because of James Charles, I remember that.
And I captioned my Instagram from that day. I go, I really hope my dad's proud that I'm not in assless chaps today. Because I was like walking around, I'm like, there's too many butts.
Seriously,
there's too many butts.
Are all chaps technically assless? Isn't that what chaps are? You wear them over pants, right? And there's no... Am I thinking of the wrong thing?
I feel like that's correct.
Thing, right?
Yes, I think that's
Yeah,
correct.
so
Yeah.
technically, chaps don't have asses.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they're just talking about it because your ass is out.
Yeah, well, that's, so it cuts around. You're supposed to wear pants.
I think that's a core memory for everyone on the internet.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I have never worn pants with chaps.
Or asses, or any of the above.
The point was, I wasn't allowed to go to Warped Tour. Because Iggy Pop wore
the assless chaps.
Assless chaps.
Assless chaps. Thanks, Iggy Pop.
Thanks, Iggy Pop.
I saw Iggy Pop once.
He's on TikTok
now. He never has a shirt on.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever
seen him. He's old now? Yeah, that's definitely the content. He's like old now. I saw him with the Foo Fighters like a couple years ago, and that man he's still doing his thing.
Good for him.
I don't know if he has a TikTok account, but I saw a video of him on TikTok the other day where he was saying, "I'm of sound mind and body, and if something happens to me before this album is out, let them release it because it's good." I was like, noted, Iggy Pop.
Okay.
We love that confidence, though.
Yeah. Do we? I think we judge that confidence sometimes. Just saying.
I can't say I've ever actually listened to Iggy Pop, so I don't really know anything about his music.
Yeah. I'm a noob to Iggy Pop.
Well, on that note, I'm wondering what everyone's song of the week is.
My song of the week is still Emergency Contact by Pierce the Veil because I'm in my feelings all the time.
I'm excited for that album. I've never been like a huge Pierce the Veil girl, but their past 3 songs that they dropped for this album, I'm all about it. So I'm excited.
What is the one that they just dropped?
Yeah. It's a slower one. What's the name of it?
Yeah, I purposely haven't listened to it because I know it's going to make me really sad because it's a love song.
Yeah, I was listening to it on repeat and I can't even remember the name of it, but...
I listened to it today and I was like, wait, this is kind of good. This is surprisingly good. I haven't been a fan of the stuff that they've put out so far, but this one was good.
Even when I'm not with you.
I love a good slow song.
All of the singles have sounded really different from each other, so I'm really excited to hear what the rest of that album sounds like.
Yeah.
Interesting. That'll be good.
Courtney?
Skip me. Circle back.
She has.
I had it in my head and now I
She
forgot.
has her song of the week.
I forgot.
All right, Haley, what is yours?
I'm gonna be cliche and pick a revival band because I'm gonna pick Gold Steps Petty because we all love to be a little petty, and I just can't. I just jam to it in the car. My husband even jams to it, so that says
that Petty is a jam.
Nice.
It is good.
It's so good.
Petty is a jam.
Petty's probably
It's so good.
between Petty and Gatsby. Those are my two favorite songs on their album. But I think
Good
Petty's
album,
my favorite.
Yeah, for sure.
Mine
you,
is The Summoning by Sleep Token. I am obsessed with all of it. Not just the end. Everyone's focusing on the end. I like all 6.5 minutes of it. I think it's perfect.
Ooh,
So I
6.5 minute
purposely
song.
have not listened to this song yet today because I wanted to wait until I was in a better mood because I knew my mood was going to taint it and I didn't want that to happen. But I'm surprised that none of you said the new Fall Out Boy song.
Well, I just didn't want to be like, it dropped today, so that's what it is. I mean, I'm into it. I'm into the song. I think it brings it back to old Fall Out Boy, but I want to listen to the rest of the album. I don't think it's going to be my favorite track from the album, but I like the song.
I haven't listened to it. Yeah, I haven't listened to it, but I'm also not like diehard Fall Out Boy fan. So
I was diehard
my
for
opinion
those
shouldn't
first
matter.
3
I understand,
records.
Courtney.
Yeah, I was too, Amanda.
Yeah, no,
And I
so
don't
this song
dislike
kind of brings
Folly
it back.
Ado, but
Yeah.
Did you didn't say yours yet, Courtney, did you?
No, Nessa Barrett, Talk to Myself is going to be mine. She came up on TikTok, but her latest album is good stuff. So,
Interesting.
she was at when we were young too, when we were there. But
Well, I was being blown away by the wind, so I'm not surprised I did not hear that.
couldn't hear anything.
Couldn't hear her over
The
the
howling.
Mm.
For real. But yeah, awesome. And we're gonna have a Spotify playlist going and updating it weekly with our songs of the week, so you guys can check that out on our Spotify page. You can follow us on all our socials are set
And
up.
also,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, and also drop new music that you like so that we can listen to it.
Yeah.
Put it in the comment section of this
You
video.
Me in the Scene
Yes.
reviews the music.
Yeah. See what you guys want to listen to and talk about. And we have all our socials set up, so you can follow there to keep up with when we're going to be dropping episodes. We'll insert
Yumdis
them
pod,
on the
right?
podcast. Yeah. It's however you want to say it.
YMATS.
YMATS.
YMATS pod.
YMATS.
It's like it. Yeah. It's like itsy Matt's pod.
There we go. Welcome to Itsy Maps.
It's a math pizza.
Oh God. And so thank you for tuning in. This episode was a little less structured. We just wanted you to get to know us, although I can't promise that it's ever going to be more structured than this because we are who we are.
It might not get better.
It might not get any better, but we hope you tune in and stick around for the ride. And thank you, and we'll talk to you next time.
See you next
Is that a
time.
good ending?
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the You, Me, and the Scene podcast. New episodes are released every other Monday.